Hello, everybody. All but 0 people. Just setting up my stream to see if I can cover the Welsh Esports League Season 9, seeing how we go on with looking at some of these chess matches. I'm going to be looking away quite a lot because, I'm also setting it up, so therefore it's going to be quite difficult to do. Let me just change a few things here. Oh, that's okay actually. So the match is starting in about 5 minutes time, but I am setting up, so I'm expecting some potential problems. If we want to have a look at it, then we can see here some of the matchups. So we've got the Sea Dragons, that will be Bulanov against the Dragons, that will be Welsh Tiger. And the Pirates, who's going to be Jordan Carroll against Tribal Esports, not again 61. Wolfhounds will be hopefully Conchcasts this week against the Goats, which is I Am Lightbringer. Yeah, what am I actually streaming on at the moment? Am I on Welsh Chess Chat at the moment? It'd be great if I am. Yes, I'm on Welsh Chess Chat, even better. I'm not actually logged in on my Twitch channel as Welsh Chess Chat, so I can't even see it. I'm going to go get my mobile phone. Obviously, I'll be trying to not give away any moves when I'm watching these games. Is the sound coming through okay? If somebody in the chat could let me know about that. Is the sound coming through okay? If somebody in the chat could let me know about that. I'll have to turn off my Twitch. So you're playing against I'm Ringer, okay. It's been so long since I've streamed. I haven't got a clue what to do. Okay, so we also have the Pit Ponies, which is Tucson Moon, and they're going to be playing against the Wizards, which is Decode. Meant to be the white player that sends the person on the left, so that sends the challenge. Okay, but they've started, so let's go and follow and see what's going on. So this will be Decode playing for the Wizards against Tutankhamun, against who's playing for the Pit Ponies. Oh, they've already started off already, which is great to see. Looks like we've got this kind of Slav set up, but White's doing a typical pawn storm for White here, which is good to see. Can't quite see the chat at the moment. Oh, I know what I can do. Let me Twitch on here, and then I'll have to just mute it. Sorry, I've forgotten my logins for all of this, so I can't for all of this. There we go. I'm not actually logged in as Welsh Chess Chat, so I'm. I'll have to reset the logins after tonight and get it sorted. See, this is the Welsh. One of the first games to feature on the Welsh Esports League Season 9 for chess on the stream, and we have Pit Ponies Tutankhamun versus Decode of the Wizards. Looks like it's going to be an interesting game at the moment. Both of them playing quite quickly at the moment. Probably know some of the opening stuff. Very aggressive play by White here with the pawn storm, but we will see. Let's have a look at Bulanov versus. So it's not Bulanov, is it? It's Major Coast is his name. Major Coast versus the Welsh Tiger. See what's going on in this game. So, okay, so Major Coast is playing for the SEA Dragons. I want to say Sea Dragons. And he's against the Welsh Tiger, who is for the Dragons. So an all-dragon affair here. What was this opening? Oh, it was a Queen's Gambit accepted. Okay, so Welsh Tiger played this against me in an over-the-board game. And actually played this exact same line against me in an over-the-board game. So this is interesting to see how Major Coast deals with this. And Knight D2 is quite a key move, I believe. Queen B3. I think I might have even played Queen B3 against Welsh Tiger. This might have even been copying my game against him, which is hilarious. But this Knight G5 move, a little bit of danger coming in there. A few things happening on these E6 and F7 pawns with the Bishop and Queen and the Knight lined up. Unsure how that's going to look in a few minutes. Let's have a look at the next game, because we've also got the Pirates, which will be Jordan Carroll against Tribal Esports, which will be Not A Gain. So I think Not A Gain's, is still Not A Gain 61. So let's have a quick look at this. Switch over. Okay, so this game's on. This looks like some typical E4, E5. Typical standard Italian opening. Oh, B4 Evans Gambit. I like it. I like the way that Jordan Carroll's playing against this. Look at these two ratings as well. Pretty similar rated players at the moment. So this could be a really interesting game. And actually, Not A Gain elects to go back to E7, which I don't believe is the main move. Either taking or Bishop B6 is. Bishop B7, actually, no. I think Bishop B7 is the third most popular move. And Jordan Carroll gets his D4 pawn going and is not bothered about pawns and is causing a bit of an issue with this knight now. This knight on G4 could be a little bit out of the way. Black could be tempted to take a pawn on here on B4, but who knows what's going to happen there. Let me just check the chats. Yeah, and just getting confirmation there that there's going to be 2 matches tonight. Each match features 2 games of 10 plus 5, so they've got plenty of time. Games could go on longer than 20 minutes. If it's 1-1 at the end of the 2 matches, one for white, one for black, then they're going to play an Armageddon game of 5-0. Which is quite interesting. I need to change the name on. I need to log into this so I can change what it is, but I will. Let's have a look. Any other messages come through? Okay, here. Caching. Point telling me you want to stream now. setting some things up. And hi, Mr. Jukes, why are you not playing in this? Is my first question to you. Disgraceful. I expected somebody such as you, with your ilk, to be wanting to play in this tournament, and Mr. Fatala as well. I'm very disappointed that you've not signed up. I'll be having words with both of you when I come down to South Wales again. Right, okay, back to the games. Okay, so this game is going to start slowing down now because it's get quite crazy. There's lots of pieces and being flung everywhere. White's got some super activity. Black's got an extra 2 pawns. Oh, hang on, there's a piece gone, hasn't there? White won a piece. How did I miss that in front of me? So after h3, this knight on g4 did become a problem. And rather than retreating it back to h6, where it would be technically safe, the problem with that move is that the bishop would take it. And when it gets recaptured with the pawn, while you can say that material is equal, the problem is that the king is so exposed now that this g file is open, and white would have a monster attack and already has like massive control over the centre. So black elected to, rather than do that, they thought, well, do you know what, give the piece with 2 pawns. Probably a good decision actually by not against 61. Here at this point though, this b5 move's causing black a bit of problems because this knight's hanging onto this pawn here. So knight b4 has been played, queen b3, and white's definitely in the ascendancy, but time's ticking away, anything can happen. Still got 2 pawns for the piece. The game is not completely over just yet. Lots of things going on there. Let's have another look at a game that we haven't looked at yet, and some of these games might finish very, very quickly. So we've had a look at Tutankhamun. We've haven't had a look at the Wolfhounds. Okay, let's have a look at Conchcasts. Or actually, no, I'm going to search for the Goats player, which is I Am Lightbringer. Because the chess.com username is not Lightbringer, which is quite funny. It makes me laugh anyway. So, not Lightbringer versus Conchcasts. Do you know what? This is... I quite like Conchcast's setup here. Got quite a lot of pieces on, and the ratings are pretty similar. So let's just have a look what happens. We've got Sicilian on the board here. Bishop b5. There's a bit of an interesting variation. Nothing wrong with this by Conchcast at all. Got nice and castled really quickly. Actually, that's... Oh, and just unlucky that this Bishop g5 move just lost this b2 pawn. Bit of a silly mistake there, but it's easily done when you're not played very often. You've got the bishop for it, and actually the queen actually causes a lot of damage down here now. And maybe there was a tactic here or something where you could have been a little bit more aggressive. You play e5 on the knight moves somewhere. Where's it move? Probably to the centre. And then you could go again, and the idea is that now you've got a discovered attack this way, just really causing black just some questions to be asked here. This would have been a nice little idea. Your opponent might not have seen that coming. But actually here, this is still perfectly fine. The knight and bishop are attacking. But really you need this diagonal open, and the pawn is actually in the way. Okay, and the bishop was trapped, so now black is well in the ascendancy. The knight's gone, another knight's gone, so this game could be over quickly. But thanks very much, Conchcast, for stepping in, and there'll be another game after this as well. So let's hopefully see some good plays. Let's go back to Tutankhamun's game against against Decode. So we're still actually in the same game here. Let's see how it developed. So we last left it around about this point, and this G5 move was really aggressive. Knight came back, G6, really messing up the black pawn structure. So here if pawn takes, it blocks in the bishop, and then the knight will take the pawn in E6. So if the bishop takes, and these pawns are still very, very weak. Black's got no light square bishop to defend them. White has a light square bishop coming out this way or this way to attack both of these pawns on these diagonals. Black doesn't know which way it's coming. But E4's maybe not a move I would play. That feels like it's still a good move, but it's maybe not the way that I'd play this. But opening up the centre is kind of like the right thing to do. But I felt like that just let the foot off Decode there, and Decode's well in this game now. Anything can happen. Still got a few weaknesses to deal with. You saw that I mentioned that this pawn was under attack. Now this pawn's under attack. The queen's defending this one. Nothing defending this one at the moment. Decode's just trying to find a nice way to defend it, or maybe even just let it go and see what happens. So we'll get to see. Okay, so Black's just castle queenside, actually deliberately letting this pawn go. I really like this decision. I think it's a good one. Black should start trying to attack one going the pawn down. Let's go and see how Mr. Major Coast is going on against Welsh Tiger. Don't know whether to call Major Coast or Bulanov, to be honest. It's a bit of a tricky one. So what have we got here? Esports Wales, hello. Yeah, good to see that we've got a few people in the chat. Apologies for the production this week. It's all a bit last minute, and we will make sure it's. I think we might even use a different channel next week, perhaps, but we'll have a look. Thank you, Bella, for your addition. That's my dog in the background, if you can hear it. So this is Major Coast versus Welsh Tiger. I'm just going to go back to the start of this game. We had this Queen's Gambit accepted, so this is the Queen's Gambit opening. Maybe a move delayed, but accepted is when they take the pawn. Of course, taking the pawn brings the pawn away from the centre, which means you'll eventually get two pawns in the centre like this. And this was actually, I think, the same variation that I played against Welsh Tiger over the board. We have to look this up, see if that's actually the case. But there's, I've mentioned here that there's just a few potential sacrifices here that could happen. Like the interesting thing here, especially when it's an online game, it's quick time control. You're thinking, do I sack the bishop here on e6? And after pawn takes bishop, then do I do knight takes pawn? And actually, this is looking pretty promising. I'm a bit surprised. Why did Major Coast not go for this? This looks really promising. You attack the queen. The queen's got to stay connected to this pawn, otherwise we take their check. But let's say we just go forward one square, and then we can take here check. And we're attacking the bishop as well. It's defended by the knight, which so you're not going to win it, but you're dragging pieces away. So like, where does the black king go? I would have played this. I would definitely have given it some serious consideration, to be honest. About how to do it. This is definitely a good variation. You're getting 3 pawns for the piece. You just played knight g5 deliberately to do this. If I was Major Coast, I'd be sacking the bishop there all day long. And instead, he goes back to d3, plays it solidly, which is obviously not bad, and starts to swap off some pieces. And I guess these two of the highest rated players in the division. Major Coast is maybe thinking there, if this does finish 1-1, 5-0 Armageddon, maybe slight advantage to Black, with the draw being classed as a win for Black. So this is. Maybe he's just trying to swap pieces off here, get to an endgame that he loves. A couple of double pawns, which, they're brought towards the centre, which is kind of a bit more of an advantage if they're towards the centre, but because they're doubled, as in next to each other like this, might be harder to create a pass pawn later on. Open file for Black here because of that, though, which will lead down to this pawn. It's still a very equal game. A4 is interesting. B4 is really interesting. Maybe he wants to play A5 at some point. And he doesn't want to get double pawns himself. And look at this little manoeuvre. Bishop back to e1, disconnecting the rooks. Possible tactics involved because of that, because the rook on a1's now undefended. But he's probably going to kick this knight away with f3. The knight will have to run away. Although he's wanting to exchange it off. And then go this way. Oh, so this is... I've got no idea who's actually winning this. I think this c-pawn could be very dangerous. Because if he takes it, it undoubles Black's pawns. And then this pawn's going to be threatening to go quite far down the line. And this knight's going to be here forevermore. He's got nothing that can take it off. The pawn can come to f5 to solidify it in. So it's... I think this is advantage black at the moment, but I am not 100% sure. It could go anyway. Okay, let's have a look at a different game. Who have I not covered? Not against 61. Who are you against again? Getting used to these. Yeah, not again against Jordan Carroll. This was interesting. Oh, so they must have started their second game then, right? This first game must have already happened. Let me just have a look at. Just go back for a second. I'm just going to go back into the history here. Okay, so first result we've got. So actually, this was a Jordan Carroll victory against Not Again 61. And it was that Evans Gambit here that we saw, which is basically named after a famous Welsh chess player. So I'm really pleased to see the Evans Gambit on the board. And this super aggressive play by White won the piece here. And then did this knight on b4 get trapped in? Okay, so the queen got attacked. And then, the queen got attacked again. And the queen got attacked again. The queen's just getting harassed. And then the bishop on e7 went over here. So this was just really unfortunate. And now it's just should just be lost off. And he just resigned at this point. Understandable, to be honest. 2 pieces down against a strong player. Personally, I'd have played on, especially with it coming down to 5 minutes and 3 minutes. You never know when you can get some results, but that is going to be a win for Jordan Carroll there. And now they've clicked rematch. Not Again is now with the white pieces. Let's have a look at what opening he played. So again, Italian game, but 2 knights defense this time. In the previous match at reverse, they played bishop c5 on this move order. And okay, d3 is a bit slow, but it's not bad. And c3, okay, so we get a very slow Italian here. Nothing wrong with any of this. Looks like Jordan Carroll knows some of his stuff though. Could be a danger to many of the players. And maybe he's thinking about a queenside castle here. If he can get his queen out of the way and to be a little bit more aggressive. Just get that imbalance in the position now that White's castle kingside. Otherwise, he might have just castle kingside himself straight away. So I'm interested to see how this game develops, but it's a little bit slow at the moment. So we will move on. Okay, let me just go back. Who have I not covered? So we just Jordan Carroll, and then it's it's going to be Lightbringer, isn't it? So, or is it Lightbringer? Not Lightbringer. There we go. Against Conchcasts. Thank you very much, Conchcast, for sticking it. So this game, they've already had one game which Not Lightbringer won. Not surprised on that. Last time we checked in, Not Lightbringer was a couple of pieces ahead already. Looks like Conchcast is behind again here, but you know what? Putting up some really good fight. I mean, you look at for activity. Did they get their king castled? Yes. Have they got their pieces active? Well, this bishop's going to be quite dangerous in this diagonal. The knight and queen are really well placed, and they've got a nice big centre of pawns. You know what? You start creating threats here. You can create some real problems for your opponent. And Conchcast right up against it, run the rating-wise against Not Lightbringer. How did we get here? Oh, so we got a French Conchcast. Conchcast, brilliant. I play the French. Bishop d3 from Not Lightbringer. What an abstract variation. b6 though is not the move. You might want to take this, and after bishop takes, you get to develop your knight almost what we call for free, because it develops by attacking, and therefore the bishop has to come back this way. Okay, there's many moves here that you can do. I think there's an idea with c5. There's also an idea with e5, which I quite like. At a later time, you have to set them up. But okay, b6. Okay, and too many pawn moves here. And this is, taking this pawn's not a good idea, and a piece goes down there. But actually, though, you know, it's not bad play. Falling in for this fork, which is understandable, but active play from Conchcast needs to start creating some threats, and I really like this e4 move. This is just starting to ask Not Lightbringer. Yeah, you're a piece up, but you know, your 2 pieces are your rooks. You know, your extra piece of the rook's not doing anything at the moment. If Conchcast can actually activate this bishop on this diagonal, this one here, coming down this way, getting these 2 pawns maybe sacrificial out the way. These pawns are really cramping White for space. You know, the knight can come to here. There might be a sacrifice on f3. You know, it takes back with the pawn, and you get this knight out the way. The queen can come across and give a check. You know, there's potential here for an attack. You know, if I was against Not Lightbringer here, I'd be fancying my chances with the black pieces. So Conchcast's doing quite well here at this point. Right, okay, let's move on. So the last game was Tutankhamun. We started actually with this game, didn't we? We'll come all the way full circle, trying to cover as much as we can. So against Decode. So this is still from the same game. We last looked at it when Black castled queenside, which I thought was a really good decision. White snaffled the pawn, as you'd expect him to do. And then, okay, Black just said, let's get my king safe. So it was this bishop looking down through this pawn at the king. really uncomfortable for Decode, so he made a good decision to move it over. Get that out of the way first of all. White decides to bring a rook to the centre, and then rook to f8. Okay, there's a pawn here when the knight moves out of the way, so it makes sense. And okay, black's just going to play this position, a pawn down, and actually just play some sensible chess. Again, here I quite like this. The queen came back to pin the knight to the king. So therefore, Decode just said, I'm just going to move my king to the side, to the corner, where it's nice and safe. Obviously, hopefully it doesn't get back ranked in the future, which would be pretty bad. But we're actually now really coming down to low time. Look, 1 minute for Decode, just under 3 minutes for Tutankhamun, and we're in this position here. So he actually wins the pawn back on f4. Amazing. So this was a mistake, f4 by Tutankhamun. Knight h5 won the pawn back, and Decode is well back in this game now. Actually a pawn up, but mate threatens on b7, and Decode finds b6 to stay in the game. Knight comes back, possibly setting up a sacrifice here, but I'm not buying it. Decode is really, really working this. You know what? Yeah, was black not a pawn down before? Did I miss that? Was there some sacrifice? Oh, was it sacrificed before? Is that why? Ah, of course. So actually, this is a really exciting game. I want to go and look at Bulanov versus Welsh Tiger. Sorry, Major Coast versus Welsh Tiger. But this game's quite exciting as well. I wonder how many chess.com accounts I'm allowed to have open at the same time. Let's test it, shall we? And how many web pages I can only watch one game at a time, you see, which is kind of annoying. Let me see if I type in here. Major Coast. She's not on the other screen. Maybe this is a better way to do it. Okay, wow. Okay, so we've got an endgame between Major Coast and Welsh Tiger. 18 seconds left for Major Coast, though. This is getting into the really critical time. Big time trouble, but is he actually losing this? This c-pawn is looking pretty deadly. So I'm pretty sure the Welsh Tiger is pushing for the win here with the black pieces. Now that the bishop's blocked, the pawn is blocked by the knight's on the perfect square. Look at every single black piece here is on light squares. This dark square bishop's got nothing to attack, plenty of time. I think this is only going one way. Right, I'm going to load up all the games on different URLs just so I can flick through them easier. Not like Bringer. That makes more sense, doesn't it? There we go, not like Bringer against Conchcas, and okay, not like Bringer's got the queen in to give some checks, but fair play to Conchcas, you know, something's happened here with this pawn coming in here. Conchcas giving themselves a chance to actually get some sort of checkmate going on. I mean, it only takes one mistake taking this pawn here, and then this pawn comes forward, allowing this bishop on this diagonal to pin this rook to the king. So some checks going on at the moment, both under 5 minutes. Looking like it could even be a draw by repetition. Not like Bringer would win the match at 1.5 if it is a draw by repetition, which would be quite nice to see Conchcas actually get half a point. Who's the last game that I haven't got? It's Jordan Carroll, isn't it? Okay. Trying to remember people's nicknames when we've got so many nicknames going around. Not easy to do. Let's have a look. Yeah, so the only thing I'd say to... I don't know how to report the results. That's something that's... okay, so not against 61 against Jordan Carroll. This is the second game. Jordan Carroll in the first match. Not against playing a really solid game here. Some good central pawns here. Is he a pawn up here? He's pawn up, isn't he? Because I miscounted before, didn't they? They can do it on the platform when they log in. Okay, they might need directing to that, how to report the results. That's maybe something to that I'm going to just pre-warn you about. They're going to come in the chat and go, right, okay, Tutankhamun. Well, Tutankhamun counterplay here. This h3 pawn would win it for Decode eventually, but only 10 seconds left. 5-second increment every time, but there's a little bit of counterplay here. Oh, he sacked the rook for the knight. Decode has. What a sacrifice. But is that going to be the right thing to do? Tutankhamun brings his queen forward, big threats coming on the board. I don't want to give it away. Decode defends. There was a back rank checkmate that was, or close to a back rank checkmate being set up there, and the queen defends the rook coming back here. Queen a6 just covered the square on b7. And Tutankhamun's got 2.5 minutes here, literally, to try and find a way of trying to get back into this game. Because these 2 pawns here will just roll. And if he does not defend those 2 pawns, or get something out of it, knight g2, don't like that move. I do not like this move, knight g2. The knight doesn't actually help the pawns go forward. It does defend the knight by the pawn, and maybe that's when you're down to 10 seconds. These are the things that you do. You just instantly try and get all your pieces defended. g3 played. The pawns are still rolling. I'm not so sure. Yeah, okay, so ContraCast looks like has finished. Okay, this is the same game, so I can't do that. Okay, so if it's finished, it would have transferred over. Looks like that game is finished. Well done, ContraCast, for stepping in, and Lightbringer for working it out. Welsh Tiger did win that game against Major Coast for the first game, and we've got the second game well underway now in the opening. Not Again is still, and Not Again lost the first game to Jordan Carroll, but actually playing quite well in the second game. Pawn up, bit more of a slower position, and maybe trying to grind out the win for the Armageddon. But we're going to stick with Tutankhamun against Decode. Hang on, what on earth's happened here? Where did the queens go? Oh no, Queen h7, no! And then, oh, it was check, and then push the pawn, but then rook check, king up, rook e7 check, and here the queen had to give itself up for the rook. And this queen now, what is going on? You know, who's actually, I don't even know who's winning now. Because if these pawns, if he can somehow get the knight to guard one of these squares, then how's the queen going to stop the pawn? It's probably going to end in perpetual check by the queen. Oh, Tutankhamun maybe could have used a bit more time there. H1 queen comes next, defended by the knight. I'm not... Oh no, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay. I don't want to give it away, though, in case they're watching. So we... I think it's going to be a draw by repetition. Yeah, draw by repetition here, I believe. And I tell you what, Tutankhamun and Decode, these 2 players, Tutankhamun had the opening advantage there. I don't think they were a pawn up like I was claiming earlier, but it definitely had a good position. More time as well on the clock, but Decode came back really well into this game. That was a fantastic game. Really, really impressive matchup. And they're just about to start game 2 as well. Let's flick back over because we've got still Not Again against Jordan Carroll. This game looks like it's developing. What happened here? Okay, so White got greedy, and you know, greed is sometimes good in chess. Queen takes g7, swap queens off White's 2 pawns up, cruising to victory. But it did open up the g file for the rook on the king down this line, and the knight came back, and after knight h5, didn't see the danger coming. And didn't see the danger coming that this rook was lined up with the king, and played d4, which opens up the centre, completely ignored, played knight f4, and now there was just 2 threats here. Rook takes g2 check, or knight takes h3 check, and the pawn can't recapture because the rook would be checking the king. Played g4, lost 1 pawn, the knight went back, now it forks the rook and pawn, and then takes this pawn here, and now White is in all sorts of trouble. It's actually still equal material somehow, but I do feel for this king. This king is really in a big trouble. If this rook can get itself somewhere over to the H file to give check, and this knight was out of the way, that would be close to checkmate. So this game is really, really on a knife edge now. Not Again, lost the first match against Jordan Carroll, has to win this game to take it to Armageddon. Likewise as well, we have the Welsh Tiger here playing with the white pieces. Won the first game against Major Coast. Major Coast has to win as black. Plenty of time on the clock for both of them. This is probably going to be the game that goes all the way. The first game did go into only a pawn up endgame, which was really tight. Let's just have a look at the opening here, actually, as I haven't seen it. Caro Khan from Major Coast, as expected. D5, okay. So here, black can go into like an endgame with takes, and queen takes queen, king takes queen. And it's something maybe that they maybe just wanted to avoid with queen c7. Bit of an interesting idea. And we get this kind of typical e-pawn kind of stuck in the centre and developing around the typical pieces. And I mean, they're very boring at this point, I must admit. But bishop takes knight, queen takes, bishop d6, h4, okay. So this knight maneuver here, that was quite nice. Knight from d7 to e6, and the idea is to try and jump it into this central square of d4 eventually, just improving that one piece. Thanks, Lightbringer. Lightbringer, have you got some more games later on? So they play 2 matches tonight. So Lightbringer, you're for the goats, aren't you? So yeah, okay. So game, was it 2-0 in the end? So okay, yeah. So yeah, there's no, you haven't got a game tonight. You're on the bye rounds because there's 5 teams that have entered. So who hasn't started yet? Is it the artists? The artists, who plays for the artists? Afan Nudge. Okay, so yeah, you're not in the first set. You'll be playing the rest of the games. Okay. Really interesting. To see how this works out. 5 teams later on, so they've still got another couple of matches to play. Some of these players have. It's going to be a busy evening. Thank you. Okay, Decode versus Tutankhamun drew the first game. Who's going to be the first to play an Armageddon game? This is what I want to know. It's fascinating. We don't actually, in our chess, in our over-the-board matches, actually play many Armageddon matches. We don't do it. The Welsh Chess Championships over the board, if it's tied for first, we don't even play a rapid or blitz playoff. We just share the title. So we don't actually often play. Hang on a minute. Decode's played 1b4 here. This is. Do we know the name of this opening? What's 1b4s? What's the name of it? I think I actually did this with some juniors the other week at the weekend. Who knows the name of the 1b4 opening? Put it in the chat. Make sure that we've got the name of that in. Really interesting from Decode. Playing some good stuff actually. The game, I was really impressed by both players actually with their resourcefulness, and we get this pretty stodgy blocked up position. This is kind of position that I quite like. All of these pawns are blocked up here, not much can happen, so this game is going to develop over the long term. Black's got this light square bishop blocked in by its own light square pawns here and here, and so therefore to get it out and get it active, either it comes out the long way, 1, 2, and then somewhere out this way, or something like b6 has to happen. He tries to get it out this way. Same thing for white though. This dark square bishop is blocked in by its own pawn, so it's one of those things. Both sides have got blocked in pieces. This is going to go on for quite a while. Okay, back to well, hang on. It's finished. Not again against Jordan Carroll, and Jordan Carroll takes the match 2-0. What an interesting game this was. It was actually going so well for Not Again out the opening, pawn up, and just missed. Took actually 2 pawns up actually, 2 pawns up here at this point, and then just missed the danger of this knight coming into f4, one of the most dangerous squares a knight can get to when your castle's on the king side. Likewise, if your opponent's castle king side, getting your knight to f5 is really good. But here, this rook and knight combine to just cause so much pain down the G line against Not Again, and just missed it. So if he'd played something maybe like, it's quite interesting. This knight coming to f4 is actually really difficult to stop. What else could he have done? Maybe a king move, perhaps. Although the problem is, when it comes into f4, it's also threatening this pawn on d3 as well, which is quite interesting. But I think maybe we just give that away. So maybe something like, if we play something like king h2, and after knight f4 we go knight to e3, it might be a bit grim, because we don't really want to lose this pawn. But you know what? We're still a pawn up at this point, and that would have kept the game going, which would have been possibly a much better variation. But after this, I should imagine, yeah, the king got really isolated here. And we saw another pawn drops, so black's a pawn up now. It's not easy though, because white's king can be active here, really ready to take these 2 pawns. Takes the knight and then d3. Actually, white is maybe winning this. This is, well, white's winning this, aren't they? So he takes the pawn. White's winning. How did he lose? He's completely and utterly winning. Oh no, did he lose on time? Here he played knight f3. Why not just go rook a6, rook takes a5, and black hasn't got checkmated material on the board. So he goes here, and what, does he lose on time or something? Oh, it must be lag. Surely he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have run out of time here when he could just take the last pawn. Oh my days. But then again, even if he runs out of time and takes the last pawn, it would have been a draw. He would have lost the match. Jordan Carroll, you were very lucky to get the win there. But all the same, that the first game was definitely deserved. So we'll see both of these players hopefully in action in the next match when that gets started. Really good play from both of them. Okay, so we've got 2 more games going as we go up the ratings as well. So this game hasn't moved on much more. We see here Black playing super aggressively from Tutankhamun, G5. I mean, this is a bit of a cheap trick here, just hoping for pawn takes pawn, and then rook takes rook down here. Not only is it 1 free rook, oh no, the rook's defended, so we're okay. But it's just like, opening up here doesn't feel right to me, because the black king's really exposed now. And the queenside pieces can't actually get over this side of the board too quickly. It's not a move I'd play, and white correctly castles here from Decode. Takes the pawn here, and I'd be a bit scared if I was Tutankhamun here. The open G file coming, white's rooks can easily access that line. That's going to be pretty scary if I'm playing the black pieces here. Okay, Welsh Tiger versus Major Coast. What is going on in this position? Okay, just a bit of a slow position. Both of them got plenty of time left. Good time to just check around to see what's going on, because we've had 2 matches finish already. I'm guessing we're going to see this update when they update their results. So who's playing next actually? So we've got Tribal Esports, which is not a game, against Sea Dragons, which is Major Coast. So that's going to happen. Rejects comes in. Anderton 46. You'll be coming in against Jordan Carroll. So actually, if Anderton's in the chat against Jordan Carroll, you can actually oh, who's Jordan Carroll again? I have to try to remember what their usernames are. Let me just you can actually start your match now if you want. Of course, if Jordan Carroll is free. Where has Vesalius gone? Don't know. Maybe they're watching the stream. You and Jordan have started. Nice nickname on Twitch, I would say. Right, good to see. Okay, yes. So the second match. So there's 2 matches that they're playing in the night. So they've actually already started. So Jordan Carroll is beefed up from his 2-0 victory, taken on perhaps I suppose, who is playing for the Rejects. Yeah, that's correct. Saves me trying to remember all your usernames, which is extremely annoying. But we're getting there. Okay, so that match has started there between the Rejects and the Pirates. No need to wait till 8 o'clock. Both players are free; they can get started straight away. So we've also got, who's that? Wizards versus Wolfhands. So Conchcast again against Decode. That'll be after this match though. Artists. Okay, so Ath and Nudge will have to wait for Tutankhamun to finish. Okay, so let's have a look what happens. So Knight F8, Rook G1 as expected. Black King in a big load of danger here. I mean, just look at this Bishop and Queen lining up on this diagonal against it. Takes on Basson. Rook G6. I'm not liking this for black at all. This is looking pretty nice for white. Bishop pair now, which is a little advantage. Bishop over the knight. The bishop can't quite get in the game though. There needs to be some sort of sacrifice to get that bishop on this diagonal on this king, and then it's going to be game over. Maybe. Okay, let's switch over to Major Coast. Oh, I've lost Major Coast. Let me load Major Coast versus Welsh Tiger up. Or has that finished? Has it finished? Has Major Coast against the Welsh Tiger finished? Not yet. No, it's still on. Okay, so hang on, is Major Coast a knight down here? Oh wow, there's been a sacrifice. Let's have a look how this happens. So Major Coast has gone for something. In the previous game, if you remember, I did see a bit of a sacrifice that Major Coast could have gone for against the Welsh Tiger, but here after Rook C8, looks like this was prepared then. Rook C8 gets out of the pin along the d-file, so the bishop can move. Rook goes back, which is maybe just saying to black, do you know what, I'm happy with a draw because I've won the first game. It's up to you to beat me. Queen b6, knight back to h2. The knight comes back kind of like to the edge of the board, just wanting to swap off, but actually sacks the knight on f2. Rook takes bishop c5. Super aggressive stuff from Major Coast, saying I'm not going to take this line down, I'm not going to draw this game, I am going for the win here. You know, okay, he's going to get the rook. He's going to get a rook and a pawn for a knight and a bishop. Maybe though the white king is going to be a bit more exposed. And maybe there's a rook f6 potentially coming in at some point as well. So rook d2, rook f6, knight g4, rook comes down, and the rook just starts to threaten the g3 pawn. Not sure how this is going to work out for him though. It's king g2, yeah, and how is he going to continue this? Not so sure. Maybe she should have just done bishop takes rook to start off with. Would have been a little bit better, but let me check on a few things. Okay, all good. Nobody's putting anything in the chat. Bishop takes rook. Okay, king takes rook. So he is just a piece down now. It's just a knight for 2 pawns down now. Knight for 1 pawn down. Why can I not count pawns tonight? This could be a really close match. Looking at the rest of the players in the group, though, you would expect both of these players to potentially win the rest of their matches. It's not going to be easy. You expect these two players to finish 1 and 2 and go through to the championship bracket. But do they want to be champion or do they want to be in second place? Is a big question for them both. So king f3. I don't know. I think he's got some chances here. I mean, the king on f3 is actually quite exposed. Still some time left. Welsh Tiger seems to always have a little bit of a time advantage here against Major Coast. Chances left still. Let's check in with some of the other games. Okay, so perhaps I suppose we missed this opening, didn't we? So okay, we got an English. And black, Jordan Carroll. He's impressed me with his openings today. Really aggressive, nice taking space. Been impressed by what I've seen. Loses the bishop pair, but I guess just gains a really nice centre here for Jordan Carroll. Playing against somebody who's massively higher rated than them as well, which is sometimes you can go into your shell a little bit when you're playing against somebody higher rated. Other times, and this is why takes the rook takes and then loses a pawn here, which was needless. And then it's all gone wrong. Loses a knight for free. And that's just the pressure. This game could be over pretty quickly. Perhaps I suppose he's probably just going to wrap this up by swapping pieces off and making it simple. Okay, saves his queen from the pawn, of course. But yeah, that was a bit unfortunate actually, because I really liked Jordan Carroll's opening here at this point. Knight b4 was maybe just a little loose because there was the bishop and this knight both attacking this pawn. The queen's attacking this knight. And then it all just goes wrong. Rook takes rook, drags the rook away where it was defending the pawn away this way. Could have taken with the bishop there. And then when this pawn gets taken, rather than keeping the queen on the knight, which would have kept him well in the game, because only a pawn at this point, moves the queen to the side and then just loses the knight. And that's how quickly it can go from being in a good position to being completely lost. So good luck to Jordan Carroll to keep some activity here, but I'm not holding my breath too much. Let's have a look at this position. Is this game finished? No, not at all. It's still going. And why is my board a little bit dodgy? Let's just refresh the page. Okay, yeah, I like the colours there a bit better. Okay, so we still haven't seen this dark square bishop activate against this king yet, because there's a pawn in the way, which is never going to move. But something's happened on the queen side. Here, black has maybe given away some pawns just to get some activity, to get this bishop to a4. Really nice play for activity. Okay, so let's just have a look how it happens. So we had the exchanges, knight g6, takes. And you see here, this is the sacrifice we're talking about. Black cannot take, because after e6, this bishop becomes alive, gives this check, and of course the queen would also be lost as well, with check though. So the king would move and then it would be check. So black hasn't got time to take white's queen because they're in check here, which would be quite annoying. So this was a nice little sacrifice to do. Rook e8, another pawn gone. Okay, so the pawns weren't sacrificed. The pawns weren't sacrificed, they were lost. But because of that, this bishop's now got out, and white's king is starting to feel a little airy. Decode here against Tutankhamun. What a great matchup this has been in round one. Really enjoyed watching these two players duke it out. No, he definitely didn't do it for activity, did it? Did he? What's going on here though? Is that feels like there could be some tactics here, and Decode's just trying to work his way through it, I should imagine. Flick back to the other matches. Anything exciting happening? Perhaps, I suppose. Still a piece up. Queen's off. Easily winning that one. Welsh Tiger here. Piece up against Major Coast. Major Coast has got, or Welsh Tiger's king is in the centre and under a lot of attack, but not so sure it's going to be enough. And with a time advantage too. I'm going to stick with Decode versus Tutankhamun at the moment. I think this is the game to watch, if there's any. Yeah, let's just see on the results. I think these will be updated soon. No, just the one that's been updated, so I'm sure they'll update the rest of them afterwards. Okay, that game's over. So yeah, knight f4. Let me just refresh it. Whenever I do some analysis, it makes my board a little bit anemic. Okay, king b1. King b1's a real sneaky move. So the king was on c1 before. It's just kind of like some ideas of some checks that could happen. So nice to get the king out of the b1 square. Okay. Okay, right. Okay, so Tutankhamun is in desperate search of some counterplay against this white king, which is why the queen was brought up to d7. You know, potential checks here and here, covered at the moment by white's bishop and queen. You know, white really wants to finish this black king off, but maybe just can't quite see how that's done yet. And even though white's 2 pawns up, the 2 pawns are here, and they can't move forward. Black's got complete control with the bishop and queen. On these squares, you know, it's very difficult to move those pawns forward. If this pawn does go forward, it's protected by the bishop and queen actually, so it can do, but it wouldn't be able to be protected by another pawn. So maybe black can round it up, or is it going to win white the game? I guess we're going to find out. Decode yet again getting into low time, or should we say using their time effectively to get a better position. You know, Decode's given up 200 rating points here to Tutankhamun in this time control, but they might not have played that many rapid play games, so it might not be completely accurate. But these two players are really well matched up. Do you know what? Can we just watch Decode versus Tutankhamun every week? That's what I want to do. Oh, Bishop c1. Is that it? No, it's not it. It's close. Very close. Very, very close to being game over. Very close. Yeah, I thought white could have maybe even sacked the queen there, but he swaps rooks. This is looking pretty bad for Tutankhamun. Some pre-moves there. That happened really quickly. The knight does not want to take this pawn, because then the bishop comes back to the diagonal, pinning the knight to the king. Both players can see this, so it's not a free pawn for black here. This is very dangerous territory now for Tutankhamun, because the queen, you know, the knight and either the knight or the queen has to stay guarding this square, otherwise it's going to be checkmate. but they also have to stay guarding this square on f6 as well, because that would be checkmate after the king moves if the queen gets in there. So black's pieces are tied up, but also the pawns coming down the boards, 2 squares away from queening. The bishops just control so many squares here. I'm really worried for Tutankhamun here. Really good name as well. Let's just flick over to okay, so this is already finished. Jordan Carroll did lose the first game to Perhaps I Suppose, and is playing another decent opening from what I've seen from Jordan Carroll this evening. And I've lost Major Coast, so I'm guessing that game is finished. Let's just flick over here. Okay, yeah, so Welsh Tiger did win both of those games to take a 2-0 lead and win that matchup. So well played to Welsh Tiger, but there's still plenty of matches and games left. Are you playing later, Welsh Tiger? Let's have a look. So you were the Dragons, were you? So no. Yep, you can go. You're good. You're playing. Guess you're playing next week. Next week now for you. So yeah, playing next week. Has he got 2 more matches next week? Yeah, 2 more matches next week. Yep. So thanks very much, Welsh Tiger. Off you go. Off you go. Major Coast will have to hang around because the Sea Dragons you'll be playing against Not Again 61, who might be 3 actually. So a Major Coast, Not Again, you two can get going. What's happened with Decode and Tutankhamun? Okay, this has not become as easy anymore. Unless this pawn just wins it. That could just win it. I think, can the knight intervene in some way? I don't think it can. b7 comes next move. How does he stop it? I don't see a way. This is going to be a Decode victory, which is going to be, I don't know if I want to call it a mini shock. Okay, white's got the queen here for Decode, and maybe black's hoping for a stalemate. Match is over. Decode beats Tutankhamun 1.5 half. Fantastic matchup between these two. Really, really good. So the second round of matches is now starting. We're going to lose a couple of players, but we're going to gain a couple of players as well. So I'm hoping that Conchcast plays against Tutankhamun. Is that right? So let's go over here. So we've got this is the second round match. So we've got so this is Not Again 61 against Major Coast is going to start at some point soon. Rejects is Anderton 46, which I know is not that. It's okay. No, he's playing already. They've already started. We've got the Wizards, which is Decode. Decode plays against Conchcasts. And then the Artists against the Pit Ponies. So Athanoj will be playing against Tutankhamun. And that can be in 5 minutes time, or they can start now. We will see what they choose to do. Why did Alex not play the London system? I mean, obviously he should have done, shouldn't he? He's played the Queen's Gambit and he should have played the London system. That's where he's gone wrong. Let's have a look, see if any of these other games have started. I do not want to challenge that. So Not Again against not started yet. Athanoj said he can't make it. Oh, that's a shame. What? Oh, that's really annoying. Okay, well, let's have a look at Jordan Carroll versus Perhaps I Suppose. Jordan Carroll has given this a much better go. Really solid open. Okay, Petrov and the typical Queen and trades, Piece trades. Very slow from Perhaps I Suppose. But then again, being the higher rated player, maybe something more aggressive was called for. Oh, I like this. F5 attacking the knight, ignores it, D4 attacks the opponent's knight in exchange. Doubles those black pawns in the centre, check, and then rook out. Some captures. And then here white goes to get equality. If black takes this, white takes this, but then maybe black takes this one. So hang on. So who was Tutankhamun playing against? You were the pit ponies. You were meant to be against the artists. Well, if Afanaj can't play, well, that's a shame. So yeah, the artists are going to start. So that's going to be it then. If you can't make it. So yeah, Tutankhamun's just said a loss and then a bye. Things can only get better. Has Decode started their match? Let's have a look. We're just trying to get started at the moment for round 2. For the first time we do this, it's always a case of we get people not turning up, or we get people can only play one match. It's always expected when you get things like this happening. So nothing's starting there. Decode's not started yet against Conchcasts. And Major Coast not started yet either. Okay. So I guess we're on to this one. Jordan Cowan's going to try and hold off, perhaps, I suppose. Pawn down in this rook and pawn ending. I can't think of anything more exciting to talk about than rook and pawn endings. Okay, I mean, it's quite interesting because black's got the extra pawn, but white's rook is really active. So I'd say that this was equal. But I can imagine that the quality of play, usually as we go down the rating ladder, endgames are usually really badly played. So because I've been quite impressed by Jordan Carroll's openings in the 3 games that he's played so far. Been really, really good. Really aggressive, taking control of the centre. But let's see what his endgame plays. He's got 6 minutes on the clock, which is plenty. Quite a lot of time here to just think about what to do and how to maintain that activity. Actually, don't want to help out too much because in case they're watching the stream, because they've still got loads of time left. So is Decode playing yet? Should be 3 matches going on now, or am I mistaken? Major Coast, are you playing yet? No, not yet. Okay, it's meant to be at 8 o'clock, I guess. So maybe just having a rest after the 2 games against Welsh Tiger. Yeah, you see this white rook is brilliant. So it's tying down this black rook because it's defending this pawn, but it's also keeping the king cut off from coming forward. So I'm not sure really why. Perhaps I suppose went this way with the king. I would have definitely gone like h7, g6. Makes a lot more sense to me. Oh, Decode, that's brilliant. Do you know what? That was fantastic, your matches. So really impressed by your play. I think Tutankhamun also played a part as well. I think you two are a great matchup. Yeah, really, really impressed. Thanks very much. But really impressed by it. And yeah, my favourite game. I thought my favourite game was going to be Major Coast against Welsh Tiger. Those two are just a letdown, really. I mean, compared to you two. Okay, so just going back here, Jordan Cow just makes a little bit of a mini mistake here. A3. I probably wouldn't have played this move. It could be useful in an endgame to have a move like this saved up. It's almost to put your opponent on what we call zugzwang. So it's almost like when you don't want to move, this would be a spare move that you could do at any moment. And it's just kind of like a5 happens and now the king moves, takes, and okay, we swap pawns off. The rook's going to have to come and defend this pawn now though. Okay, he's gone active. And you see there how the switch has happened. The rook was absolutely terrible here beforehand. He's just defending a pawn. And now he's defending the pawn from the side. Really showing his rating now. The rook is defending the pawn from the side, but also at any moment can give a check. Can attack this pawn from the side here. Really good rook and pawn kind of stuff. Yeah, very, very impressive play by perhaps I suppose there. But it's still very close. You know, the rook will just stay here until the end of time. So I want to see how that works. See if any of the other matches started. Maybe not yet. Obviously it's Tuesday, so in the chess world, Tuesday is quite a big evening for chess anyway, because we have Title Tuesday, which starts at 4 o'clock on at UK time, where basically all the potential title players in the world can play in a blitz tournament over 11 rounds. And that usually finishes around 6:30. But then they used to have another tournament starting at 9 o'clock, like 9 till 11:30, the same thing. They called it the Late Title Tuesday. But now they have the after party, which is something that Hikari Nakamura, one of the top grandmasters in the world, trying to be the world champion soon actually, that he kind of hosts. And I mean, I don't really I don't watch it to be honest, but it's pretty big, so that's why I'm getting loads of notifications saying the after party is just about to start or has started. Okay, so I'm not liking the fact that this rook has come off this pawn. How did we lose this extra pawn here? What happened? Oh no, the king attacked it and we didn't do anything. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, Jordan Carroll, it was always going to be difficult for you to defend this endgame. 2 pawns down, it's going to be near on impossible. So the move that I really liked here, by the way, is the c4. b4 was a bit weird. I think I would have kept these pawns back, actually, because you don't want to trade these pawns for these 3 pawns. You want to keep the pawns on the board. And the reason why you want to keep the pawns on the board is because you want your rook to take them. And when you take them, that's going to give you a passed pawn. So if you swap them all off, then you haven't got that ability left. Unless you're going for a draw. If you're going for a draw, then you swap them all off and then bring your king and your rook over to this side of the board, and it's 2 pawns against 1 should be a draw, but it's not going to get to that point. So I would have preferred a move. I didn't like b4. I would have preferred a move like rook b7 here. Just kind of looks at both pawns. Just says, I'm going to look at both pawns for you. He plays a6 and he's not able to exchange anything. And then if you wanted to at some point, maybe move the king over first, you could even try an a4 move here. And that would force them to capture, and then maybe you can take 2 pawns back after losing 1. But you could just keep that in reserve, so you wouldn't actually need to do anything, just put the rook here maybe. Keeps this rook tied down to defending this. The pawn can't move forward because you take this pawn on b5, which wouldn't be too good. But okay, I think this was not going very well anymore. We get to this position here. Okay, the rook's gone, unfortunately. Good opening again from Jordan, but he's going to go down in this game. That's going to be I think a 2-0 victory for Paps, I suppose. But really good matchup so far. Right, let's have a look. Has Decode started? No, not yet. Major Coast started. No, not yet. What's going on? Are their opponents not here? Let's have a look. Sea Dragons is meant to be against Not Again. Not Again, where have you gone? Yes, Black 1, okay. Well done to you two, perhaps, I suppose. First game. Not Again 61, where are you? Oh, watch, okay, there we go. And he's playing against Major Coast, perfect. Okay, so we've got this match, Not Again. Maybe I just missed this, or have. Oh no, they only just started a minute ago or so, so that's alright. Look at the opening, Karo Khan from Major Coast. And I'm sure this is some long variation of the Karo Khan. B3 doesn't feel right to me. I never like moves like b3, it always feels a bit weird, but maybe it's okay. And okay, both players getting all the pieces out. White's castled, Black's just delaying castling for a minute, just to... Ooh, what happened here? So takes, instead of taking back with the pawn, which would probably be the normal thing to do, White went a little tricky and took back with the knight, with the idea that he kind of wants some sort of discovered attack on the queen with the bishop, but then missed, and because his pawn's not here, knight takes e5, wins a pawn for Black. And then, oh, knight takes f5. Discovered attack on the queen, but his own queen's under attack. So he takes that queen, this queen goes, this queen goes. Knight takes g7 check to win the pawn back. And what is happening? I have, so it's equal material. I think Black's going to be the happier here because, yeah, he's more than likely, I guess he's deciding whether to go king f8 and attack the knight, or whether to just go king d7, which is, d7 is probably a better square for it, but f8 attacks the knight, forces the knight to move, and then he's just going to come down here and take this pawn on e2, I believe. And Black will go a pawn up, but it's a little bit of a crazy position. I prefer Black by a mile. There's only a minute or so into this game, so it's going to be quite interesting. Is Decode playing? Yes. No, is it not loading up? Decode. Okay, so we've already got some matches underway. Let's go back. Okay, I don't know why it's showing 1-0, but Pirates against Travel. So that's Jordan Carroll against Not Again. So Not Again, you need to just, or Jordan Carroll, you need to put in the results of your matches. It's been put into the so Decode, it will be a buy if none of them show up, but we have to give them 15 minutes, I believe, although Slayer John can confirm how long we've got if they're not going to show up. So it looks like we're on Not Again 61 against Major Coast then. Okay, so he chose King D7. In the end, the knight came back anyway. I guess the point here would be that maybe the threat was actually for black to play pawn to H5 next, which would trap the knight in. Pawn to H5 would trap the knight in and then basically just attack the knight, and the knight can't go anywhere. So therefore he had to bring the knight back anyway. So that's real high level stuff. So many people here would just play King F8 because it threatens to take the knight has to move. But actually if King D7 is a better square for it, and you're still actually threatening to trap the knight in, that's some clever stuff. So the knight has to move anyway. And therefore your king's in the better square, the rooks are connected, takes this pawn, and now if white was to go, rook a1 now, okay, they wouldn't go that because the knight here is on pre, but if that wasn't the case, then you can always support it by bringing the other rook across. Whereas if the king was on f8, it would block the rook coming across. So just some clever play there from Major Coast. And then knight f3 happens, and bishop c5. The pressure on this f2 pawn is absolutely huge. Bishop, knight, and rook attacking it. King and rook defending it. I can't see a way for white to defend this pawn. 3 attackers, only 2 defenders, one of which is the king. If he goes to 2 pawns down, this could be game over. Okay, so knight d4, but then he just took it. I thought maybe e5 was going to get played, but maybe I'm missing something. There, e5 would kick the knight away, but okay, just takes it, and then just takes the open file. And I think Major Coast is just quite happy to try and win this with an extra pawn, better pawn structure. He's got 2 pawns here that he can attack quite easily. This could be a nice endgame. And he's still got to play again after this with reverse colours. It's the only game that I know of that's going on. Somebody's chat typing in the Discord. It is 15 minutes that we have to wait. So Decodes, you'll get some more time to chill after your nervy first 2 games. And rightfully so as well, I think. That was some interesting chess. What did white play? He played rook d1. Okay, so we're not live actually, so let's just refresh the page. Oh, okay. You accidentally did them as 10-0. Even though I did a video to show you how to do 10 plus 5. So what happened there then? So who was that? That was... Yeah, the first 2 are meant to be with increment. Let's just have a look at that then. I'll just have a look at your games. So the first one was against Not Again, was it? Well, it's also your opponent's. Okay, so the first one was Okay, so basically you weren't getting increment. That's why not again 61 lost on time. I mean, the thing is, it's also your opponent's fault for accepting the challenge. They should have not accepted the challenge. So yeah, so the result stands because they accepted it. So there's nothing that we can do there. If your opponent accepts the challenge, the incorrect time control, then that's on them. So we'll leave it to stand as it is. But okay, so Not Again is playing against Major Coast. Okay, and this endgame is just easy to win for Major Coast now. So I'm going to have to go around all of these games to see. Yeah, so it says here 10 plus 5 seconds. So yeah, we're just we're basically towards the end here. There's just still some results to be filled in. At this point, we've had a couple of no-shows, which is a shame. A few more minutes to go over here. But the only one we've got at the moment is the Tribal Esports against the Sea Dragons in the second round of fixtures. Wizards are currently going to get a default win against the Wolfhounds, and every other game, there's only 4 matches that are in it, so the other one, these two are already finished. So we're going to see here Major Coast wrapping up the first victory, I believe. Plenty of time left on the clock for both of them, just waiting for it to go through. And then we'll see. So somebody's just put in the Discord chat, and do you know what? It's really good to see this being played because with a group of players here, many of us actually know each other. I don't know literally every single player in person, but I know a lot of them. And they all, because I don't live in South Wales, whereas a lot of them do, so they all know each other. Some of them are from the same team, but one of them's just flagged one of his teammates, and there's a fantastic word that's just been put in the Discord chat, and that word is filth, and I could not agree more with it. Absolute filth, that is. Brilliant. It's exactly what we want. Well, it's not what we want, but it is what we want. Okay, so Not Again is just trying for some counterplay here. F5 is just kind of like, I'm going to try and get a pawn to the end. It's not going to work, but it's definitely worth a go. As soon as somebody starts to get low on time, try some things out. That's exactly what we want to see. And also, while we're playing these matches, just while there's a bit of a lull, one thing I would ask the crowd, ask the non-chess players who are watching, what would actually make it more entertaining? Do we think this 10 plus 5 time control is long enough, or is it too long? Would we prefer to shorten it down? Maybe have more games played? Funny hats. What funny hats for me? Obviously, I'm sure we probably want to see the people on a webcam playing. If we could do, maybe we should attach them up to heart rate monitors as they're playing. That would be the dream. Very unlikely to happen, but that would be the dream that we could get to. I'm thinking 10 plus 5, 2 games at this. I think that's okay. Maybe we could do 8 games of 3 plus 1, for example. Instead, we could get more games in, but a much shorter time control, so it's much faster. Let's get the players on camera would be a good idea. Definitely you, I think, would be great. Decode on camera with your hands shaking like this from your nerves, perhaps. I don't know. That would be quite cool. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so black one here. Going to see a rematch hopefully between these two. But that really calmly done by Major Coast in the end. And okay, let's see how this game goes. Major Coast is white this time. It's not against 61. Major Coast played the Queen's Gambit in this first game, didn't work for him, so he's gone back to his tried and trusted London system. I could not think of a more exciting opening to be played. Thank you, Major Coast, for making this exciting. And he knows our faults on this. He does play it the proper way though, so and he's played it here with G4 and 95, which is good to see. Okay, we've already got a pawn structure change here with this swap off of knights in the centre. Expanded pawn structure on the king side. So I'd love to play bishop g2 here, just put the bishop on that diagonal, but knight d3 check would unsettle our king, meaning we can't castle. Kind of mistake that can be played. Yep, so this is the last game because anybody that's not shown up here will be defaulted by now because it's gone past quarter past. So this is it. So the Wizards will take a 2-0 against the Wolfhounds. Pirates and Tribal Esports, well, they can talk about it themselves. That's up to them. Should have noticed the time control to start off with. And do you know what? To be fair, Not Gaines had an absolute stinker of a day. If he loses this second game here, because he just lost 2 games and probably a bit unhappy that he got blitzed when he shouldn't have been blitzed, or flagged when he shouldn't have been flagged, and now he's playing Major Coast, who's rated in over 2,000. Over 2200 plus WCU, 3-time Olympian player, candidate master Major Coast. Not Gaines had a real tough day. So yeah, I think I think Jordan Carroll, you're gonna have to be really nice to your friend, your teammate there, the next time you see him. Maybe you should get him a pint or something like that. I would recommend that highly. But thanks very much for both of you for showing up and making us be able to run this tournament and put it on. As you can already see, we're already getting people not being able to turn up. But as they start to realise that it's more worthwhile to play in this esports league, which is only going to take you, let's say, 2 hours of your Tuesday evening, than to actually play in the local league. Because in this, you can actually win some money. In your local league, you don't win any money by playing. Not even £10-20, unless you're paid to play, which I don't think happens in the Welsh leagues at all. I know that a few of my colleagues around the FIDE rating 2200s, 2400 do get paid to play. But you can actually win money in this tournament, and it's for a very short amount of time. I can see that Pedrada's typing, not available today but available next week. Good to see. And as everybody gets used to doing all the challenges, we get used to doing the streaming. I don't know if we'll use this channel again or we'll use another channel, but we'll get it better. I know that I want to do more streaming anyway, maybe on my own private channel, but also a little bit on this one too. Because there are other tournaments going on, so for chess fans out there, it's not just about esports. We've also got an over-the-board tournament which we would love to send a Welsh team to, which is the European Team Championships, but it's just far too costly. So what's going on here then, actually? Because A5's just been played by Not Again, and I really like the aggression that Not Again 61 has played this with. He's just left his bishop on E4. He's really attacking this B4 pawn now of Major Coasts, and I'd say that the White King feels like it's in a bit of danger here. He's played Rook H3. The pawns on G4 and H4 are supposed to be aggressively placed, but actually these pawns aren't doing anything anymore. They're not actually cramping any black pieces. They are not very good. Maybe there's some sort of idea of trying to trap the bishop in, but No, he's losing too many pawns at the moment. This pawn, and under attack here. I think not a game's played this really aggressively. I quite like it. What is going on here? Checking Charles. So who needs to fill out their? Who needs to fill out their results? I'll pull this over here just so I can have a look at it at the same time. Who needs to fill out their results? So, Jordan, do you need to fill out your result before you go, please? I think the link's been put on the Discord chats in your game against your club mate. He shouldn't have accepted the time control, which is a shame. Because I know that second game would have made a difference, but that's just how it is. And then we've also got, okay, and this is the last game to go. So these are 1-0s on here instead of 2-0s. It wasn't 1-0, was it, was it Wolfhounds? No, yeah, that was 2-0. But Pit Ponies against the Wizards, that was 1.5-half, wasn't it? Yeah, so Pit Pony is 1.5-half. I don't know if you can put that on or not. Oh, there's a hub website. Yeah, I think the problem is the rules were written by somebody who... Yeah, so the problem is the rules on the hub website were written by somebody who doesn't play chess and doesn't play online chess, so therefore when they say 20-minute games, they don't know what that means. Is that 20 minutes each? Is it 10 minutes each? And so Armageddon 10-minute games, you just don't write it like that. So we'll get that changed and get that updated. I will email them about that. I don't quite know how they got that wrong, actually. Oh, so we can click on the groups now already. We can already start to see what's going on here. So we've got the groups up, which is nice. So some of these players that we're watching, they're not all in the same group as each other. So we can see here that the Rejects and the Dragons both started off with a win apiece. Tribal Esports is playing now against Sea Dragons, of which the Sea Dragons Major Coast is already one game up at the moment. And then in Group B, we have the Wizards, which is, I believe, Decode. Yep. The Wizards and Decode have taken the lead there, so that's going to be an interesting one. Wolfhounds have lost both matches so far. The second one to default. Their main player couldn't make it this week. Artists also defaulted their one game this week, but Pit Ponies and Goats picked up a win apiece. So everything to play for. That's going to be really close because the Wolfhounds player Pedrada 88 is probably going to be one of the highest rated players in the league. So when he comes back to play his next two games, I would expect him to win those two games. That could be really, really close, actually. So not sure what's going to happen there. To be fair, I should have read every single rule. I mean, it's only it was only today when I actually started to look at the matches that I started to see the different times here and who was actually playing when, which I only started to look at that. Been quite busy myself. Let's have a look at the prizes. So the prizes go to the teams. So prizes start. Oh, look at this! Prizes start at 12th. So there's still going to be something to play for right until the end. That's going to be really good. And okay, it's pocket change, but it's still, for an online game, so it's for us to play this. This is still much more than we get for playing out and over the board matches. Unless you have to travel far and get paid that way, but it's only really for the Grand Masters and International Masters of the world. Pirates 2-0. Yes, Jordan Carroll won both matches there. that should be 2-0. Pirates 2, Tribal Esports 0. Okay, so we're only counting wins then, are we here? So we can't put a 1.5 half. That's okay. That's fine. Does that make a difference? So Wizards here have got 1-0 and 1-0. I don't understand what the 1 and 2 means. We're missing the chess as well. Let's just go back for a second. So A5 happens. What happened at A5? F3. G5 felt very desperate. Just got taken. And White up. I don't understand why he just didn't. Oh, he played H6 because H6 gives the bishop here this square on H7. Otherwise, it would have been trapped in. That's actually quite clever by Not Again 61. Really like that. And therefore, he didn't lose a piece. But there's been a lot of pawns exchanged here. Who's winning? What on earth's going on? It's equal material. How is this equal material? Both kings are still in the centre. There's pawns being on pre and captured everywhere. I don't even know what's happening. Is Not Again 61 actually outplaying Major Coast here? Definitely, you can see Major Coast's time going below 4 minutes, and Not Again 61, 8.5 minutes on the clock. Safer king, better pawn structure. White's pawns are all over the place. This is what you get when you play the London system, people. That's what I'm going to have to say. This is what happens. So swaps rooks, bring the queen out because this pawn was being attacked by this one. Update it. So, right, that's why we have the first round right, because we're going to make mistakes. Yeah, I think White is hanging on a knife edge here. But one thing you don't do against Major Coast, you don't swap queens off with him. He's deadly in endgames. Although he usually takes about 2 or 3 hours to win his endgames, so from an equal position. But here it's a little different. I don't like Queen B6 there. Queen B6 was a defensive move, right? So this is black here is in the ascendancy. Lots of white stuff is hanging. This H pawn actually could even be quite dangerous and is still dangerous in the game. But because of that, I'd also say that the white king was also exposed here, more so than the black king. So therefore, I'd be wanting to keep the queens on the board. But the queen came to B3, and maybe he was just worried about this pawn on B7, which I personally wouldn't have been. I'd have been thinking more aggressively, and he played Queen B6, and I do not like this decision at all. Giving White the option to trade queens here doesn't. Both groups are going to be super close, just due to sometimes people not showing up or whatever happens. And then of course anything can happen, right? We don't know who's going to be available in the next few weeks. And what will happen though is that when we run this tournament again, people will see the benefit of it and all the streaming that goes alongside it, the production. We'll get that a lot sharper. And what's going to happen is people will actually cancel their local league matches to play in this tournament, because this is where the chess is. And if you think about it, how big we can expand this, if we wanted to, right? This is currently 1v1 over 10 teams. There's more esports teams than that across Wales. So we've got only 10 teams playing. We can have an extra 6 players, and then you can have 2 players or 3 players playing for a team. Obviously, that's a million miles away at the moment, but it only runs for 4 weeks as well, which is a massive benefit. You just say, right, I'm going to be busy between 7 and 9 on a Tuesday for four Tuesdays. It's hardly anything, isn't it? So this first season is about getting things right, testing things out, and massive thank you to all the players that are just going to help us do that, and hopefully you enjoy some chess along the way, which is why we do it. I'm sure in the future I won't just be here by myself. Hopefully we'll get somebody else joining me, either a non-chess player or maybe another chess player, and then they can ask all the questions that people want to ask. You know a lot of people that would have been interested, but they didn't know about it. Well, that's really interesting. So it was advertised on the Welsh Chess Union website. I put several posts on the Facebook group Chess in Wales. So how else do we reach these people? I mean, what else can you do? If they're looking for things on the Welsh Chess Union website and on the main Facebook group that we have, then they find it. Oh, not again with the blunder. Trying to blitz his opponent here. Oh, that ends the match prematurely. Here, Major Coast is down to 1 minute. 5-second increment though is loads of time. You're never going to blitz somebody there. And here he plays Rook takes A2. Loads of time on the clock. Blunders the Rook. No point continuing against the candidate master, even though there's only 1 minute left. With a 5-second increment, he's going to pull loads of time. Never going to run out of time there. Obviously Rook takes pawn is going to happen next go. But that was just a premature end to this match. We could have been going on for a few more minutes there. I actually thought here at this point, actually not against 61's actually got great chances here. He is a pawn down, but opposite colour bishops on the board. This pawn here is actually really close to queening. I wouldn't want to be playing, or I wouldn't be comfortable as white in this position. I just want to go back to this point here and just put the computer analysis on. Can I do that? Self-analysis I think would be good. Let's just have a look what the computer says at that point, because this was quite an interesting game. I thought not against 61 played it quite well here. I liked A5. This idea of G5 and H6 was really good. And we got to this point here. So Queen A5. Right. Come on, analysis. Where are you? Analysis. Okay, yeah. So Black's better here. Minus 2.3. Not against 61. Has outplayed Major Coast. And then Queen B6 is the next move. What does it think of that? Okay, yeah, and straight away Queen B6 is a mistake, and after takes. Okay, Black still shades it, but it's nowhere near. Minus 0.8 is kind of very close to equal now. So yeah, Queen not exchanging queens was the right thing to do here. What actually is the best move? So it's a Rook C8, just simply attacking the pawn again. So what happens after Rook C1? Oh, have we got Bishop 8? Does the Bishop come out now? Oh no, it says Queen C5, but Bishop A3, Bishop H6 would kind of put a lot of pressure on. Queen C5. Inaccuracy, apparently. Bishop B. Oh, Bishop B4. Oh, that is nasty. And the point being that there's a pin down here, and it would be check when the Rook takes the Rook if the pawn takes the Bishop. Not against 61. This would have been brilliant. I would have loved this. I definitely would have loved this if you'd have found this. So hang on. So he's got knight E1. Oh, but the queen on B3 is going to get hit by the knight on C5. The knight will come and take here. That's probably going to be the case, I should imagine. Oh, it's a mistake. Oh yeah, you can take the bishop. So therefore, what do we do here? What's the move? Oh, D4. Oh, and the pawn is pinned. It's pinned from the bishop to the king, and it's also pinned from the rook to the rook. Oh my God! This would have been juicy. Still some work to do, but I mean, oh, not again. You went defensive at the wrong moment. If you'd have just Queen B6, yeah, I didn't like this one. Okay, well, that brings us to a close as this match is finished 2-0 for Major Coast. On the first night of the Welsh Esports League, we didn't have a single Armageddon matchup, which is absolutely gutting. We can see all of the individual results here for the first 2 rounds, all of them finishing. If we go on to the groups, we can see that, look at this Group A, 1 win apiece for 4 teams so far.
The Rejects and the Dragons having only played one game. Tribal Esports behind with 2 losses, maybe a bit unfortunate in one of those. In Group B, we've got the Wizards leading with 2 wins out of 2. Artists and Wolfhounds at the bottom, but 1 win apiece for the Goats and the Pit Ponies. Matchup tonight for me was Decode versus Tutankhamun. Fantastic matchup. Really want to see more matches like that. We're going to be updating some of the rules and make sure we update some of the process as well. But hopefully you've enjoyed playing. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching. Any comments, please leave them in the chat. Want to know your feedback, even if it's you don't leave feedback now. Leave it throughout the week. Let's try and make this a little bit better for next time. And okay, this stream was done at kind of like the last minute, so we'll. I'm not even logged in to actually even change some of the names of things yet, so I'll make sure I get my password sorted for next time. But I think we're going to work on that too. Yeah, thanks very much, everybody. Bye bye.